evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is U.S. News for You. Tonight is a special night. We are going to recap the most significant stories and interviews from the Great Depression to the midst of World War II. Let's start off the evening with an interview with Warren Harding.
President Harding, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
My name's Rosie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Alright, let's get started. So, President Harding, can you please describe your political beliefs and how these beliefs exemplify your campaign slogan?
Well, if you've ever heard my campaign speech last year in Boston, I stated that America's present need is normalcy. Capitalism is flourishing now, and I believe Mellon's tax cuts will truly accomplish trickle-down economics.
This guy is awesome! So, President Harding, why did you approve the tariff of 1922 if Europeans found it hard repaying their World War I debts?
Well, protective tariffs promote domestic industry, and I care about America.
What have you to say about the current economy?
Well, I believe that business should keep prospering forward by the government's revocation of regulation.
Do you support unions?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
How could the economy grow with closed shops?
Alright. Well, I must say, Mr. Harding, thank you so much for this interview.
It was my pleasure.
I appreciate it so much. U.S. News, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'm Rosie.
And I'm Vince. And this is
U.S. News for You. A lot has happened within this decade. Wouldn't you say so, Vince?
Totally agree. The Great Depression, the end of World War II, the economic recession.
Oh, and I can never forget when the stock market crashed on October 29th, 1929. And the Roaring Twenties was history.
By the end of that day, stockholders had sold off 16,400,000 shares of stock, and the government determined that investors in the market had lost some $40 billion.
That is a lot of dough. How could America slip into the Great Depression so suddenly?
Well, let's talk to Catherine Morris, an economic analyst, for some possible answers for the economic collapse.
Hey guys, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, thanks for joining us today.
Yes.
Anytime.
So we were just asking why the economic boom of the 20s came to an end in 1929.
We weren't even aware and even chose to ignore the fact that the economy was failing. Businesses were overproducing consumer goods in an attempt to bring more profit.
Wait, I don't understand how mass production could have such a negative impact on the already prospering economy at that time.
I'm not saying mass production is evil. Americans easily bought into the rise of consumerism, and businesses simply exploited that.
So overproduction in manufacturing was an economic concern because of the law of supply and demand.
You are absolutely right, Rosie. Even though factories produce an excessive amount of consumer goods to match demand, the average wage for workers remained stagnant. Basically, the demand eventually could not keep up with the surplus of goods. Low demand and high supply led to the plummeting of prices.
I just can't believe that this is the sole reason for the long years of misery.
No, there were other causes of the Great Depression. The major source was the unequal distribution of wealth in the U.S. economy.
Yes, people like the oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller and the other greedy robber barons, I think, left the majority of the country in poverty.
I should also mention corruption in banks that caused loans of money to people at an exceedingly high rate.
Why were banks so eager to let Americans borrow money?
Once again, greed and materialism played a strong influence. Bankers believed that more loans meant more profit once banks demanded repayment plus interest.
You have truly enlightened me, and now I have a greater understanding of the causes of the Great Depression.
Yes, we appreciate having you here.
The weather, like everything else lately, has been depressing. In the southwest, dust is sweeping across the nation, blowing Okies to California. In the south, there is a huge migration of colored peoples to the north. There aren't many jobs to be found anywhere. But there are plenty of hobos. Oh wait, what's this? FDR is in office and he's bringing with him his sunny skies and welfare programs. Now back to you, Jackie.
Do you have spare time? Do you have places to go? You should buy a new Ford Model T car. The Model T is truly a smooth ride, and the new assembly line ensures proficiency and efficiency. Gentle on purses and available for easy credit. Let's take a look.
Someday, when I'm awfully low.
In Germany, Adolf Hitler mixed a desire to reassert national pride and power after the defeat of World War I with ideas of racial hatred. Targets of the Nazis were Jews who fled persecution aimed at driving them out of Germany. The Nazi concentration camps began as a device for political terrorism, and Germany and Italy formed an Axis powers with the aid of Japan. As war broke out in Europe, most Americans wanted to avoid foreign conflicts, limiting Roosevelt's ability to help Britain and its allies. Oh my God! Oh my God, am I glad I'm not on that plane! Without warning, Japan sent aircrafts to Pearl Harbor, an American military base on Hawaii. The bombing destroyed the majority of U.S. aircrafts. More than 2,000 American civilians died during the attack. Japan led us into a false sense of security, sending an ambassador to negotiate peace.
Lasting 36 days in the heat of the Sulphur Island in the South Pacific, the Battle of Iwo Jima resulted in 26,000 American troops killed or injured, whereas the Japanese suffered a loss of 22,000 soldiers. Although this battle had been won by the U.S., the Japanese had clearly shown they could fight until death. General MacArthur is very pleased with the victory. But oh, watch out!
Casualties are heavy. 2,000 heroic Marines died on Iwo's bloody shores. Iwo's black volcanic sands make treacherous going. Through the slit of a tank, the camera catches the advance on Motoyama Airfield, which will soon serve our bombers. The dogged attack rolls up the field, and shell fire destroys many enemy planes caught on the ground.
Hello, America. I was a scientist working on the first atom bomb. I was invited here to share a speech with those watching U.S. News for You on the injustice of the Manhattan Project. For personal reasons, I would like to remain unidentified. I helped build 2 atomic bombs in what was known as the Manhattan Project. We were sure that the bombs would cause immense damage to Japan, the targeted country, and because of that, we urged Truman not to utilize the bomb. We were unaware of the realities of its power. On August 9th, the result was a newfound perspective on U.S. power. The immediate damage caused by the atomic bombs expanded over a vast area. After it was dropped, the explosion resulted in the formation of a fireball reaching out for 2 miles in every direction. The temperatures within this area rose to 20 million degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. Those civilians should not have...
What does the fox say?